Shalom, sweet people. I am Maker Strong. My Maker makes me strong. And I came to you guys today with an episode of I Left Babylon and So Can You, and mental health notes, and celibacy is easy. All of these wrapped in one. And I'm playing a game that is kind of difficult to win. I like playing games like this because it does challenge me. But this is just a game, right? Like, it's okay to lose at something like this because, the stakes are not too high. If I lose the game, I can always start all over again and play again. But not everything in life is difficult just because you think it is. And the reason I say that is because we have a lot of people who have brainwashed themselves into thinking that having the things you want is very hard, or living the life of your dreams is just pie in the sky. It's like just daydreams or something like that, and it'll never happen. And for those people, they're right. It will never happen for them because they're talking themselves into that. And it reminds me of the story of Naaman. And that story, I'll link a description. I'll link where you can find it in the description. But the issue about that is, there's a lot to unpack in that story. So if you don't know the story of Naaman, Naaman was like this general who was very well loved, and he was just a rock star. Like, a lot of people wanted to be him, but he had this thing that he hated about himself. And I think, after reading it, it sounds to me like plaque psoriasis or something, because he had this skin problem. And he hated that about himself, and he tried many different things to cure himself of plaque psoriasis. I'm just going to call it plaque psoriasis because that's what it sounds like it was. Anyway, so he got the advice of one of his servants that there was a prophet in Israel that could cure him. And he was like, I've tried all kinds of stuff. I've tried ointments, oils, lotions, everything, and I was never able to get any relief from this plaque psoriasis. And so you're telling me that some prophet is going to wave his hands over me and cure me? I don't think so. But at the same time, he was like, well, I guess what do I have to lose? So he goes ahead, he plans his trip, he goes to Israel. And all the time that he was going, Elisha the prophet knew he was coming. So Elisha also knew that this guy hated the Jews. He knew it. And he was like, I don't want to help this ninja. But he was like, okay, if I don't help him, I'm going to get negative karma. And if I do help him, I'm going to feel bad about myself because I don't really want to help somebody who hates me and my people for no reason at all. That's just kind of lame on my part. But he had an idea, and he said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell him something super easy to do. I'm going to tell him something real easy. And when I tell him to do this real easy thing, he won't do it. Because, it's too easy. And that way, I did tell him to do it. Okay? And if he doesn't do it and he doesn't get relief, I won't be the blame. So then Naaman finally gets to Elisha's house. And this was a long trip. I mean, this was like, maybe, I would say going from Dallas to Brownsville in a cart. That's a long trip. That's like you had to, several hotels for sure. Like, you're tired by the time you make it to where you came. And normally, if a person knows that you've traveled far, even to this, like in this day and time, like if you knew that I traveled to go and see you, you would, at the very least, offer me something to drink. Golly. When Naaman got to Elisha's house, Elisha just came to his doorway and told him, look, I already know why you're here. So, just go wash yourself in the Jordan River 7 times and you'll be healed. So, Naaman was already put off by the fact that this guy didn't even allow him to come in the house. He didn't offer him anything to drink. He didn't do anything but just come out and tell him what to do and basically send him away. So Naaman was a little bit pissed off. And he was like, you know what? Take me back home. So, as a servant, you got to do what they tell you to do, right? So his driver went ahead and took him back home. Well, not home. No. He took him back. He started heading back. But as he started heading back, the servant went the way of the Jordan River. Because he was like, in case he changes his mind and says, I do want to go ahead and do it. But here they were crossing over the Jordan and like by the Jordan, I should say. And they're getting almost to the end, and the servant just goes ahead and he stops the chariots. And he goes, look, if he would have told you to do something hard, you would have done it. But because he told you something easy, you don't want to do it. Why? Didn't you say there was nothing, you didn't have anything to lose? And that's why we came all the way. Because see, you got to think about the servant, even though the story talks about that Naaman, traveled a great distance, that servant traveled a great distance too. And can you imagine the stuff that the servant had to do and had to endure while on the road all the way from Dallas to Brownsville, Texas? I mean, that's a long way. And a servant being a servant, he probably had to sleep outside while Naaman was in the hotel. Or maybe if they were in the hotel, the servant had to sleep on the floor. He had to endure a lot. Okay? The servant had to endure a lot. And here this man is like, let's just go back? I know if I was the servant, I would be like, the fuck? What? Oh, we gonna go through this. Oh, yes. So, yeah, the servant had something to say. And he was like, didn't you say there was nothing to lose? I mean, what's the point? And then Naaman was like, but that water in the Jordan is dirty. The animals do anything in there. People do any old thing in there. Any other river would be cleaner than the Jordan. And the servant's like, look, we're right here. And you gonna get your ass in this water, okay? No, he didn't say. He just said, look, we're right here, he told you 7 dips, 7 times, okay? He didn't tell you to, go and do anything crazy. We're right here. Why don't you just try it? So, Naaman got out. He dipped himself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and on that 7th time, he comes up and he's like, what? What happened to my plaque psoriasis? It is gone. And then he goes back, tells all the people what happened, and he's like, you know what? The God of Israel is really God. Oh my God. So, the long story short, which I think I'm at the end of the story at this point, but the long story short is, I've told you guys quite a few different things that I've done to try to start on my healing process. And it's simple stuff. It's like journaling, positive affirmations, basically speaking life to yourself and making sure that when you are dealing with people, you protect your own energy. You're not taking on somebody else's bad vibes, bad things they think about themselves, and taking that on to yourself. Because, I have been guilty of doing that. But when you start to journal, you start to see the things that you need to heal from, or you start to kind of read your own writing and go, ooh, that sounds like trauma. That sounds like a trauma response. Or, wow, I didn't know that I was being that, particular about something like this. Because even empaths, we're empathetic, but we don't get everything because we don't know everybody's inside and outside story. We pick up what I would say is kind of like general feeling and emotion, but sometimes like somebody may be feeling an emotion of shame and it's coming out as guilt. And just because you are ashamed of something doesn't mean that you're guilty of it. Case in point, being molested as a child. You didn't do anything. You're not guilty. If you were molested, you're not guilty. But you may be ashamed of it. So sometimes, as an empath, I'm picking up on energy, but I may still be wrong about the energy that I'm picking up. I know I'm picking up something, you know what I mean? But I don't know exactly what it is. Anyway, it's easy to journal. But if you don't want to do it, and you say, well, that's too easy. If I start journaling, I need to see some immediate results. But actually you will, right? You will. You really will. And all your battles need to be fought starting on the inside. Like, if you really think about it, it's not what's being done to you, it's how you respond to it. And journaling is very easy. Speaking life into yourself is also very easy. Making sure that you don't pick up somebody else's, well, I'm not going to say pick up somebody because you can pick up somebody else's energy, but making sure that you don't take on somebody else's energy, it's pretty easy because you know how you feel. And you know that you weren't feeling that way until you encountered that person, right? So that's how you know, oh, something about them has jumped off of them and into my space, and I don't want it in my space. Then kick it out. Kick it out. That's not hard. But a lot of people will not do the easiest things. And I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what to do for them. All I can do is, continue to live my life and see the growth and change that I want to see. And perhaps when I do that, it will have a domino effect, and somebody else may be able to say, wow, it worked for Maker. Maybe it will work for me. And maybe they'll give it a try. Y'all. Y'all. Oh. Oh, I thought I won, but I was close that one. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. Hopefully that gave you like a little bit of food for thought, because seriously, it's really not, you may have to have some patience, and maybe patience is not that easy. But the things that you need to do to start seeing positive changes in your life are not hard. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. They're not hard. They just take you believing in yourself and moving in the direction of growth, moving in the direction of healing. But if you keep telling yourself that life is hard, it's supposed to be hard because you're brainwashed into thinking that, then it's going to be exactly what you tell yourself it is. All right. Shalom.